All right, guys, so I had my Ram 2020 2500 into the dealer for a IC coolant low light that kept coming on, even though the coolant was not low. It was kind of intermittent at first, and then it got more and more. So taking it in, they did the diagnostics, thought it was a sensor, replaced the sensor, said, no, that's not the sensor. They have to replace the whole coolant reservoir. That seemed kind of odd. They said it was because it gets sticky in there, but didn't really explain why. So I did my own research, and Mopar uses a float inside the reservoir, which is contained inside, and the sensor, which is this little piece that slides up through the tube, and the magnet just essentially goes over the tube and activates this little reed switch and just makes continuity to tell you that the coolant is low when it drops. But the reservoir does get full of gunk from the engine, and that float tends to stick down, so this is activated even when it's not low. So after spending hundreds of dollars for them to try a sensor that wasn't the solution to begin with, I bought the bottle myself and I'm replacing the reservoir myself. So I just wanted to test the switch because as an electrician, this seems easy to me, but for an automotive tech trained in this, I would believe this would be even easier to test yet. So you do not need a computer. You need nothing more than an ohm meter. So I have my multimeter just set on continuity. So when I check the leads, I got continuity. So the two little terminals here and here on this side, or if you look on the back side, it's easier to see the pins. Those are going to make continuity when they get close to when the float comes over there. So I have a magnet on the end of a little pry bar here to do a quick test. And so if I hold my leads on here, I have nothing currently. I get anywhere remotely close to this magnet, I am a half an inch away from it at the moment, and it pulls that reed switch in. Sensor works just fine. So for as easy as that is to test for me, I would think a dealer should be even faster yet. And this does not go into the coolant. It is a separate tube that it slides into from underneath and locks into place with a quarter turn. So you do not need to drain any coolant or do anything other than get to this sensor, which is on the bottom. Can be a pain. I currently have my whole wheel well liner taken out because I'm doing other things at the same time. But if you can reach underneath and pop the sensor out, it doesn't affect your coolant at all. It's within an enclosed tube that the float inside goes around. So that is hundreds of dollars worth of nothing that the dealer will charge you to replace, only to guess and then say they need to spend another $700 and some to replace the coolant reservoir. So little heads up, if they tell you that's what it is, it's probably not, because these are pretty much fail safe in the electronics world. They have many life cycles within them. And since your coolant probably doesn't get low that often, it almost never should activate. So just to eliminate that cause, if they're telling you it's a sensor, it's probably not. And if you look on YouTube or anywhere else, 9 times out of 10, it is the reservoir, which I can show you. When I didn't believe them at first that it was full of gunk, it is in fact. You can see the line where it looks like there's fluid in the tank, but it is completely empty. And it's actually pretty full of gunk. And so that sensor slides right up in that little tube, all enclosed, nothing to do, it's not even touching there, and the float just goes around that tube, and when it goes over the top of it, you can kind of hear it when it flips over. That's what's getting stuck down over the sensor and telling you you have low coolant.